Hello and welcome to another edition of Cranky Gun Reviews and yet another edition of Rifle and Pistol Pairings. This one is going to be a little bit odd to some of you and really cool to a lot of others of you. The rifle I have today is a somewhere around the mid 1950s to early 1960s F Mossberg and Sons model 151 MA. And this is a Mannlicher style buttstock feeding 22 long rifle, semi-automatic rifle, and it has some really cool features. Originally, this would have come out of the factory with a target rear sight, a peep sight, 20-inch long barrel with 15 round magazine capacity, and these two ads came out somewhere in the mid 1950s and early 1960s. This gun was produced before the Gun Control Act of 1968 because it does not have a serial number anywhere on it. And the 151MA designation, the A is actually just the type of butt pad it has on it. I believe mine just has a very thin stamped steel butt pad. A 141MB would have had a nice rubber butt pad on it or a plastic one. I forget exactly what the delineations are. The history on these guns is pretty hard to find. The only thing I can really get is a few articles here and there or the magazines where these things were originally showcased where you could buy them. But gorgeous walnut stock on this rifle. Again, you can see that it has a thin stamped metal butt plate. There's your loading port for your 22 long rifle cartridges. And on the side here, you can see where the charging handle is, the ejection port, and the rear sight that's still left on it, which is just a leaf style sight. And the front sight that's put in this is a dovetail front sight with a little tiny, I believe, brass bead or stainless steel bead. And it's okay, but it's definitely not the original front sight. Now, these guns way back in the day, the safeties on them were pretty simple. They didn't have a through bolt safety or a cross bolt safety. You just pulled that charging handle back about a quarter of an inch and pushed in on it to where that safe notch is in the frame. And then it won't go forward anymore unless you pull it out again. To load it, you pull it back and then release it. And your bolt hold open, you slide it all the way back to the second notch and push it in, and that holds your bolt open for checking the chamber and for cleaning it out. You just release it to send the bolt home and get ready to fire. Now, a lot of these old Mossbergs had some really good styling. Look at the finger grooves that are molded into this trigger guard. And it's just a really comfortable pistol grip and a really comfortable finger hold on this thing when you're shooting it. This particular gun has a fantastic trigger. And let's go ahead and take a look at how you load this thing. So in the buttstock, you have your little magazine plunger, which has a spring inside of it and a follower. You pull that out to the point where it goes past the charging point in the buttstock, and then you just simply plop 15 rounds down the magazine tube in this thing right through the buttstock. Once you drop that last round in, you'll actually be able to see it in that loading port. That's when you know it's full. And then you simply slide your magazine follower back into the buttstock. And once you reach the end of the buttstock, you give it a twist to lock it in place. And now you have 15 rounds at the ready to shoot as soon as you charge that handle. Now, unloading this is actually really simple as well. You just simply open up the magazine tube, slide the follower out, and then poop all the rounds out the back. Now, you do have to remember, if you unload the magazine that way, that there may still be one in the chamber that you have to rack out of the chamber as well. Now, moving on to the pistol in this pairing, this is a vintage 1969 or 1970 Smith and Wesson model 34-1 kit gun. The 34-1 was the first of the kit guns that they had on the J-frame platform. Before that, it would have been a 22-32 or a 34 no dash, and that would have actually been on the I-frame platform, which was originally designed for the 32 Smith and Wesson long, hence the name 32-22 kit gun. Now, again, I had looked this up previously. I've had this gun for about 2 years now, and this was one of my unicorn guns. I had looked this up, and because it does not have a B prefix on the serial number, this was made right around 1969. Around 1970, they started putting a B prefix on the serial number. Now, why did I pair these two guns up? Well, again, delving down into the crazy mind of Cranky Gun Reviews, I just look at my collection for a couple of minutes and I think about, with this particular rifle, what would I want to carry on my side, on my hip with this particular rifle? And to be perfectly honest, I've never even shown this Mossberg on my channel before. But when I started looking at it and I looked at the beautiful wood stock and the beautiful blued barrel on it, I immediately started thinking about this Smith and Wesson Model 34 kit gun. And, somebody back in the 1960s probably would have carried it on their hip in a holster similar to this Bianchi. This is a number 8L shadow holster, actually made for the Smith and Wesson Chief. I actually have these holsters in a left hand and a right hand. I did a video a while back showcasing carrying two J-frames on my hip, one on either side, in the matching holsters. But again, vintage leather, vintage gorgeous deep bluing on these guns, and the beautiful wood stocks that these have make me want to pair them up together. That, and they're both rimfire 22 long rifle guns. Now, the beauty of having the J-frame revolver as well, revolvers that are chambered in 22 long rifle can also chamber 22 short and 22 long as well. So you could potentially have various different calibers that you could carry to shoot in the pistol. The rifle itself is only chambered in 22 long rifle, but in a pinch you could single load a 22 short or a 22 long into the chamber and shoot them. The problem with doing that is after a while you'll end up getting some carbon rings on the inside of the cylinder or inside the bore, and the rounds will go in a little bit stiff until you scrape that carbon off of the cylinder or inside of the chamber. But at any rate, these two guns to me are super appealing to put side by side. The F Mossberg & Sons Model 151 MA circa the late 50s, early 1960s, which is a 22 long rifle, semi-auto, 15-shot, Mannlicher stocked gun, and the Smith & Wesson Model 34-1 6-shot blued J-frame revolver in 22 long rifle. Thanks for watching again. Have a great day. God bless America. Support your 2A rights. Get out there and shoot. And remember, if someone asks you to give up some of your freedom for the greater good, remind them that freedom is the greater good.